All right, it is 9 a.m.
Southbridge flood.
We will call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody.
Morning. Morning.
As Todd was just saying, a week from now is Thanksgiving. Hard to believe already, huh?
Hard to believe. And I still have leaves to rake. So tired of raking leaves. I do have to say that I'm very disappointed you don't have your bow tie on.
I know. You know, actually, you're like the third person.
Uniform.
The third person that's mentioned it. And unfortunately, and I know Thanksgiving is a week from now, but I've put on about 15 pounds. First, I thought it was my dry cleaner, and he was shrinking my shirt.
Too much starch.
Too much starch, the heavy starch. But then he said, yeah, maybe your face is getting fatter. So I'm like, okay.
But the dry cleaner sells those expandable button things. So if your collar gets for about $2, you can get a button thing that expands.
I see we've had some experience there, Mr. Fox. Right?
And there was a pretty nice article in, what was it, the Yankee Express?
That was very kind of them, wasn't that? I had actually won, I went to a Chamber of Commerce event. You know, you drop your business card, and I never win anything, and they were going to do a story on me, and I thought it was just going to be a very small, but it ended up being a pretty decent piece, so I was very fortunate, very grateful, yeah.
Very nice.
So
we'll have to, put like a star there for the...
right. Well, we'll see.
All right, the first order of business is to accept minutes from 10/20/2016. We have a copy of the minutes.
Yeah. Here's a spare.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. So, did everyone have a chance to look at it? All right.
Yep.
Any questions? Anything missing? All right, so then Chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of October 20th, 2016. Alan has made the motion.
Motion?
Todd second.
Second? Yep.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Beautiful.
Yep, nice job.
The next thing is update on the progress with the Town of Dudley website. I got a couple of handouts, and there was a follow-up item from last. I just passed these out. I think I have enough. Just wanted to talk about advertising and kind of traffic, and get some ideas of maybe some recommendations we can forward to the Board of Selectmen. Shit, I just want to get out of that south. All right, the current advertising policy for the site is $25 a month or $250 for 12 months. And then these are some of the restrictions of our current policy. Family-friendly site, postings containing adult language or content will not be accepted, things along those lines. And at the end of the day, the MIS director has the right to refuse any ad on it. Absolutely good. Currently, we have 2 sponsors on the website that have paid an annual fee to be on that website. What I wanted to point out is since September 13th, just to give you an idea, from September 13th through November 16th, these are the stats for those 2 advertisers. So that first advertiser has had their ad displayed on people's browsers 34,801 times.
Wow.
All right. The second advertiser has had 34,798 impressions. So if you base that on $250 per year, they're literally paying 1/10 of 1 cent per impression.
When you say impression, that somebody's clicked on it?
No, that's a click. Yeah. So it has shown up, especially where it's located there, because that's premium ad space, that if someone has viewed the front page or any other page where that ad is, it has hit their eyeballs 34,801 times over the past 2 months. Oh. That's pretty good. In comparison, for instance, if you were to take an ad out, a 1-inch by 4-inch ad in the Telegram and Gazette, for a single week, that's going to cost you $255.08. Wow. And you're not going to get that kind of impression.
Right.
All right? So my recommendation is to become a little bit more competitive. I mean, if you can't do a penny and you can't jump it up to like a penny an impression, which is really what market rates are at least. Some people pay 10 cents an impression. I mean, you'd be looking at someone paying $322 a month,
Right.
right? So, you know, what I thought of is to make the recommendation that going into 2017, whenever the existing sponsors, you know, their contract expires, is to give a choice. $500 if they prepay for the year, that comes out to 0.0036 cents, still less than half a penny per impression. Or for someone that goes month to month, an ad rate of $75, which is still an amazing discount. Wow. What I attached on the back side, the second page, are some of the actual stats, you know, by day. You know, on average, we get about, you know, 500 visits, you know, a day to the site. Yesterday, well, this was in the middle of the afternoon, was 441. It was really interesting when early voting was going on. We actually, on one day, let's see, 9/17, 8/10, on election day itself, 1,088.
Yep.
So I was just thinking to myself, poor Aura, during that early election voting. The amount of traffic she must have gotten, or the additional work, because this was the first year that we did the early voting. So it's kind of neat, and you can kind of see on what the monthly is on top. So in August, when we were kind of doing some betas, it was 1153, then 8961. October was 15882, and halfway through the month, well, less than halfway, we're at 9,031 visits already. And then we're playing around with the Google ads, and we put the Google ads. I don't know if you noticed it. It's on the bottom left. It's really in a very bad area, but even there, we've made $19.43.
Oh, I see it.
And you know, you can see the Google ads had 32,000 impressions. You know, this actually tells you that 71 people have clicked the Google ads, you know, so far. So basically it comes out to somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 cents per cost per click there.
So the town gets paid on the basis of those 71 clicks, is that what it is?
Exactly. And then there's a formula that Google has for impressions as well. So that's still starting up. We've got to figure out the big thing that we wanted to see with the Google ads is what type of ads we're going to be running. So a lot of it is based upon what people are browsing. You know, Google knows. You know, for instance, if you go to Amazon and look up a DeWalt drill, you'll get a bunch of DeWalt drill ads.
Yeah.
But I was encouraged to see some McGee ads from Google actually showed up. So that's a business that I'd probably approach about being a premium sponsor. You know, they're here local, they're already paying Google, and why not get premium placement, stuff like that. But I thought this was just kind of curious. On the YouTube ads, what's not included in here is like $2 so far from people watching the videos. And the most popular video by far was a Board of Health meeting in October. 455 views so far. So,
Is that the cemetery?
no, that was the Yummies.
Yummies.
Oh, okay, yummies.
Yeah, the public hearing.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's interesting to watch and see what people are clicking. And what's encouraging is, you know, more and more people are clicking the recreational opportunities. They're getting to our site by typing in things into Google, such as things to do in Dudley, what to do in Dudley. So, you know, as we look at those search terms, we can kind of get an idea of what the board needs to kind of focus in on. So, at the end of the day, that's that. Last time we were here, we talked about wanting to put the real estate, something with the real estate, put the listings of industrial and residential property so that if people are new, looking into the area, or someone looking to expand, you know, what's the best resources to use. Joanne, I looked at LoopNet, and they only showed 3 commercial properties available in
Yeah.
Dudley.
That's about right.
Is that really?
Yeah, we
that's
don't have
fair
much.
enough? But even for retail space, no, really, it was like very little there.
It was not much.
This is the only other copy I have.
Okay.
So what I had basically thought about, last time we heard, one of the action items was doing a follow-up to maybe do an RFP to try to partner with a real estate agency so that, you know, under, you know, if we have a section that says thinking about moving into Dudley, where you can have homes displayed, even on the front page, depending on on whatever relationship or proposal we get back, actually have the most recent listing of commercial property and residential in the various sections. This is sort of a template for, again, 10,000-foot view, but what an RFP might look like. And so basically it says the town of Dudley is currently accepting advertising proposals from licensed Massachusetts real estate brokers or agencies to partner with the town of Dudley on its new website, located at dudleyma.gov, for a new real estate section that will be featured on the website. There'll be 2 sections in which the town of Dudley desires to show real estate listings in the town. Residential real estate, including but not limited to residential real estate properties for sale, apartments for rent, houses for rent. And then commercial, including but not limited to retail, commercial, industrial, and agricultural properties located within Dudley. It is the town of Dudley's intention to create a new section on the website designed to attract new residents to town. Thinking of moving to Dudley section will feature benefits and information designed for people seeking to move into the area. The commercial property listings will be listed on the economic development section of the website and will often be showcased as posts on the website and in featured articles. It is preferable that such real estate agency will have the ability to tie into the town of Dudley website through MLS or MLS widgets that display real-time listings or available properties for sale in Dudley. The town of Dudley is looking for creativity with the proposal. Such proposal responses to the town of Dudley can include a cost per click, cost per impression, or preferably a flat annual fee paid to the town. Figured initial term of the agreement would be 1 year, 2 one-year renewal options. That way, if someone's done it for a year and they don't think it's worth it, they can back out, and vice versa. And then I just put currently the town website has an average of 11,400 ad impressions per month. The town of Dudley makes no guarantee or representations as to the quantity of future web traffic or the quality of the page views. So I don't know if that covers what we were thinking about doing.
This is perfect.
I think so.
Okay,
Right,
I got even
and-
the words. This is wonderful. It's a great beginning.
I think it's a great idea.
All right.
Yeah.
From I'm going to get some industry experience and expertise for free here. If you were a real estate agency or broker, what is lacking in there that you would have liked to see in order to be able to respond? I was going to include some of the traffic counts, like if we mailed it out to the local brokers.
Cost. You don't even have my attention until you tell me what this is gonna cost.
I don't know what it's going to cost. Be-
Partly because you are in a very competitive situation to get my ad dollars. Number
Okay.
one, I already buy Zillow. I'm already on Realtor.com on 22 sites tied in. So this would be supplementary, it'd be limited only to Dudley. So how many units am I shooting for to get in Dudley to be visible? How many sales are gonna occur versus what everything else gets me? So it's about cost. Like, I know what you looked at on the first part, how you broke it down to the ad and the TNG, but you didn't look at what it cost to somebody who shops, does a contract, what it really costs us to be in the TNG. It doesn't cost me $200 a month, plus I'm automatically tied into their internet. So I'm numbers conscious. My ad budget is already being set for next year. If you want my attention, you gotta let me know what this is gonna cost me.
Out of curiosity, a service like Zillow, ballpark, what does that run to?
Zillow costs me $400 per month for leads for 2 towns based on bigger percentages of market share where I will show up. But I am guaranteed a big percentage of communities. I shop by, I have not bought Dudley. I'm not interested in buying Dudley. I have bought other towns and other zip codes. I look at what the numbers are from the results that I will get from it. People who don't really pay attention to how they purchase their things, buy smaller shares, don't get the amount of leads, it's not cost effective. They really need to understand how Zillow works to do that. So although you told me all these hits, half of these could be the town hall checking out stuff. They may not be the general public of who I'm really looking to get for my business. A lot of times, we're all on that site ourselves. So it's competitive.
Right,
If
yeah.
you make it cost effective, I will always give something a shot for a period of time and see where it goes. So it's not just about internet to me, it's about print, it's about visibility, and do I pick up internet besides? Bang for my buck.
Okay.
That's what it amounts to. It's a business, it's not a hobby. I don't need, you will be more apt to get somebody new who has not done homework yet on what marketing costs and results, track it. People who've been around track everything. So I know where my business comes from. I know what it costs me to get on all of that. This would be supplementary, have your name appear one more time, subliminal advertising. How many people I'll really get that would be shopping in Dudley would be what I'd have to be tracking. But you don't even have my attention. Without a dollar, I'm already spending my money elsewhere. I've already made the decision.
That's good feedback. So should we establish, maybe before the proposal, before that second to last paragraph where we talk about cost per click, cost per impression, or should we simply say, or you can, respond that the best offer above a certain amount per month will be considered?
I think so.
And what amount would you want to do that? You want to do it the same as the sponsor for the front of the page?
I guess it's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah. Please? No, just one person.
All right, so then that's what I'll do. So what we'll do then is we'll add, all right, if you would, I'll figure out the wording, and then Greg, I'll get that to you, so maybe the Board of Selectmen can just sign off and make sure they're good with it, and then we'll run it for a week or two.
And see who's
Yeah,
interested.
exactly. We'll do some mailers.
How many people would go to the Dudley website to
That's-
get this information?
That's what we don't know, and that's why, right? So it's going to be a brand new section. So we're in uncharted territory, right? It's going to be, you're thinking about moving to Dudley kind of thing. But what we could do is make sure that on that front page, and the same way that those premium sponsors are there, that we could always have a home, or like what I'm anticipating is that through their MLS, there'll be a widget that say maybe 250 by 300 pixels. We could always have a home showing there. So every time someone refreshes, a different home in Dudley shows up, and then we can put the real estate company's logo on that, so that at a minimum, they'll know that they're gonna get at least these impressions of their ad. And then as far as click-throughs, I don't know. It's new.
The reason I'm asking that question is because on Sunday mornings, my wife and I try to keep Sunday as a family day where we don't do lots of work and stuff. And if we drive around Woodstock and we see a nice piece of farm property, we can just go on and log in the street, and it'll show the house and its listing, and we don't have to go to a Woodstock website or a
Yeah.
Dudley website. We can just plug in a street or.
Yeah, this won't replace that in any way. That's what made Zillow and those companies as rich as they are. This is gonna be more of, when someone hits the website, they may see a house, either the right or left side. We have to figure out what looks best. But it's gonna be more, if they click economic development, and we talk about industrial, where there's a bunch of industrial real-time listings, retail, they, click retail, we talk about retail, and then in that column on the right side, we'd have whatever local retail is available. And in the new section for residents coming in, when we talk about the school and other things, it would have to be on all those pages, because we'd want to make it a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
I think you're probably looking for the agent who's trying to brand themselves. I mean, obviously, it's a limited market.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing. So I think your target of who you're gonna go after is some agent who's trying to brand themselves with the town of Dudley. So that, you're not gonna get 2,000 agents in MLS who are interested in buying this. You're
Yeah.
going to get a pool of X amount of agents out here who maybe either aren't known and figure this will be a way for them to get known with the community.
Yeah.
So I think that's where your target's at. And for them, it's gonna be very relative to cost. So, and these are just hits. See, even Zillow, when you're buying through Zillow, Zillow sets up time, you make an inquiry in Zillow, they give me a time frame to call you back, and I get a one-on-one with you. That's a lot different than you just seeing Flash Joanne Simsack.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for Flash Joanne Simsack. I want I'm paying to make that contact and talk to somebody. So I think you're looking on that respect. I think you have a limited amount of people who will be interested. And I think sooner rather than later, to be able to give them the ability to make that decision for them to spend their money.
Yeah, and worst case, I don't know if Zillow's affiliate program is still available, but Zillow used to pay websites to display ads.
Yeah,
And so if we don't get any responses, it might be simply to default to Zillow and just have the Zillow stuff show up. But we'd really like to get that
Yeah.
local.
So if somebody like myself, I think somebody had mentioned it, if I go in and I just go to Google and I type in Dudley, Mass. real estate, search, boom, obviously like the big ones, Zillow, Realtor.com. Is there a way that if somebody typed that in, that we could at least be on the same first page?
If I could do that, yeah, it's all done by algorithms by Google, and the term real estate is one of the most bid terms out there. So odds are we'll never show up.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be great to be able to do though.
Right.
Yeah, but our goal is to promote Dudley, so I think
Yeah.
that's where we're headed, and this all makes sense to me, to try and promote Dudley.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
we're trying to get before people's eyes.
Yeah, because we don't want to become a real estate site.
No,
All we
no.
want is if someone's looking to move into the area where maybe there's a picture of a house that catches their fancy, when they're looking at schools and tax rates and opportunities and colleges and, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Dudley made the paper this morning, we set our tax rate. They mentioned we were 66th lowest on one area of doing a dual tax rate, and then that we were lower if we were looking at a single tax rate, so we were out there getting visibility, and I obviously read the article because I live in Dudley and care about it.
Yeah.
But that's all you're trying to do. This is just one more tool for visibility for us as a community, people who are searching to bring businesses or locate. That's what we want to do. We're not going to sell them in one shot. It's, that, it's repetition. That's what it's going to amount to.
And
Sure.
there are certain types of real estate agents. There are the professionals like yourself. Then there are the part-time real estate agents that have their licenses and they kind of run it out of their house once in a while. They might sell 2 or 3 houses a year. Would this attract those kinds of people?
Not necessarily. They're not going to put the ad dollars in if they're not and part-time people can be professional. That the difference.
maybe
of
I didn't word it
yeah.
properly, but-
Bottom line is it's whoever is committed to being in business. And if they're committed to being in business, they have X amount of money for running their business. This is what we're in competition for, is to get part of that to help them establish themselves. Just having pictures of houses of Dudley show up is not as exciting as it might have been 20 years ago, because you put in Dudley and there's going to be 30 sites that all show up linking you in to be able to scout on that. So I think our goal here is to promote the town of Dudley, and we're saying this will be another avenue to do it. And I think that it's a smart move. I think what you've done is great research on it, and we don't want to do paralysis through analysis. We want to get it moving and give it a shot and see who responds, and then you adapt.
Yeah, and maybe if we don't get any responses, then we rethink it, or lower it, or lower.
What you had said regarding Zillow, let's say if we did that, is that something that, if certain amount of people ended up going there, we get a fraction of a revenue stream from it?
Zillow was actually, their affiliate program was actually pretty good. Usually it was about $1.50 per click. But my understanding is that they've suspended their affiliate program for webmasters right now. I don't know if they're redoing the interface, but that's a good fallback. Because they've got all the widgets and everything else, and they've got all that information that's on the Zillow site about neighborhood research and crime and all that stuff, that can all be incorporated.
I almost wonder if it's also worth approaching banks on doing this part. as far as the real estate section. Banks are in the business of lending money. They lend money on houses, they lend money on commercial. Is that someone else we should approach on maybe them partnering up with somebody to do it? Like, even on Zillow, I have someone who is a mortgage person who's tied into me on my Zillow ads that we're linked together and we both pay. He contributes to it and he shows up on all of mine. Maybe there's a way also on that to put banks and the real estate
That is a
person.
great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because you're moving into the area, you're gonna need a bank as well.
Correct.
You're gonna buy a house, you're gonna need a
And
mortgage.
banks have more money than the real estate agent.
I think you should go ahead and try it and see how it goes. And if you need to tweak it a little bit here and there, then you tweak it. And if you find out that it's just not really paying off, then you make another change. But Joanna's absolutely correct. I mean, you can't just spin our wheels and talk about it and talk about it. Give it a shot, give it a try, and see how it goes.
In
You can always make changes.
In regards to like the bank, like I work at a bank, hometown bank. You know, what should I, you know, I mean, I can go over there today and speak with the CEO. I mean, what should I be at? Like, is this going to be just like us showing up on the site, a sponsorship, or, you know, a monthly fee? Because if I can have that information, I know Hometown is very committed to the community, and you know, they would definitely, you know, be interested in doing something.
The premium sponsorship, the one where we have the 2 ads today.
Yeah.
The idea is to have a total of 3 there, because it'll fit there, it'll be on what's called above the fold, and visually it'll look okay. That would get them on every page.
Okay.
When we go to the real estate section itself, we're talking about really enhancing their image with listings and all this other stuff. But those premium sponsors show up pretty much on every page. So the one that I would recommend for Hometown would be to be a premium sponsor.
And what is that again? How much is that?
That's the $500 a year if
500 a
they
year.
just pay once a year.
$75 a month.
Yeah, or $75 a month.
John, have you spoken to the ones that already are on it, to O'Connor and to the pro?
No, because I wanted to discuss this first, see what the selectmen want to do, and then Deb Thibodeau handles those relationships, and then I would just have Greg and Deb continue to.
In other words, if there be somebody new interested, you just said those 3 openings per se. So would you give them the first
Yes,
one?
yes, an existing
Or to
advertiser
500?
will always
That's
have
a
the.
difference from,
yeah.
because
First
I know
refusal.
Soha will be
Exactly,
interested too,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because
But I
they've
don't
been
know.
loyal to the town too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we wanna
Oh, that's my
give them
point,
the-
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
See, the other thing I think for us that would be interesting is that where we are looking for economic development, most people don't realize, I mean, if you're trying to buy a 6-unit building, you can't do you have to go to a commercial loan. So having someone who can do commercial brokerage, or do commercial
Lending.
financing is key. I think that that's a perfect situation for us as an economic development. You're not going to go into a mortgage broker, and a mortgage broker is going to be able to finance you 5% down. You're talking to a commercial lender. So if you're looking at any kind of strip mall, or if you're looking at even as an investor, once you're over that 5 units, you're not doing residential lending.
My guess is a number of the banks would be, you know, itching to do something like this. I know that's what I do every single day, is commercial lending. And, you know, it's about being out there and visible, and whether it be Hometown Bank or Webster 5, Webster First Federal Credit Union, you know, these are places that my guess is they would want to, and could we have multiple banks?
Todd, when you're talking to the bank about this, maybe you should talk about them to moving the branch over to Dudley too.
Oh, they've,
You know, from that drive-through window there in Webster, maybe they can.
yeah. I've been
want me to
telling
do
the CEO that we'd love to. We're always
Gosh,
interested in possible new locations. We have the brand new one down in Webster across from Price Chopper. And I know, I mean, it's just, I remember when I moved to the area, I used to laugh when people would say, "You got to drive all the way to Webster from Dudley?" And now I've turned into one of those people, because even though it's right down the road, it does seem like a far drive. And you can, sometimes it takes you 20 to 25 minutes to get through downtown Webster during rush hour traffic.
It's not even about driving, it's just about the fact of the matter that you here in Dudley.
Yeah,
per
and
se,
that would be, where would be a good
know?
location? You know, is there an available location for a bank branch in Dudley?
Sure there is. We'll find you something.
Go in, hook us up, come on.
Formerly the hot tub store. Couldn't pick a better location.
Hot tub store.
And actually,
Oh.
the driveway goes all the way around.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, you know what, I'll have to mention
It's a
that
nice
to.
building, too.
Very nice
You
building.
could put multiple
looks just like
businesses
your
in that
writing.
building.
Yeah, but, and there's an empty lot right next door to that too, right?
Those are the
There
same
is.
colors, kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
It's always right under your nose. We just don't pay attention.
We don't, do we? Enjoy it.
The other thing that's a benefit for a business that actually advertises on our site, and Todd sort of touched upon it, showing up on that first page of Google results. A large part of Google's search algorithm that they have is sites that have a link from an official government site, .gov, to a commercial site, get huge points in their rankings to move up to that first page. So
Really?
that .gov, the fact that it's dudleyma.gov in the Google search algorithm does actually help. But if we get rid of that, it does, we'll just won't talk about it anymore. But you talked about, what if you want multiple banks? The idea was, I think we would be safe to 3 premium sponsors on that top part, because you don't want to overwhelm visitors and come like a billboard with ads popping up everywhere. I think
Yeah.
it would be my personal recommendation to reserve to 3, and then, have that little Google one just operating at the bottom and on the videos.
Absolutely. Bank
Uh,
hometown.
So does anybody have anything else about the website? All right.
I think it's awesome.
Awesome.
Good job.
Great job, John.
Well, Deb, and let me tell you, there's been some town boards have really embraced it, and, I'm always on the phone with Lisa Berger, for instance, at the assessor's office. She's fantastic, and the town clerk's office, So the more people use it, the easier they see, and it's working, and the increased traffic, helps too. So the next thing on the agenda was the brochure. Where do we stand?
I tell you right now that I'm sure Dennis is as excited as we are to put it to sleep and get it over with, because I'm on him every day. So this is where we're standing. Thank you, Marcia, for your help. I got the verbiage for the farms. Dennis came to my office about 5 weeks ago. We literally spread it out everywhere, and he understood everything. He said he's at the phase when all the pictures are completed. So he has gathered all what we needed. Now they just putting us all together. So the moment they have it all, the first draft, we shall all see it. Very exciting.
So let's offer the flexibility that if the brochure is ready for first draft, let's just say it's a week from now. Let's not wait till the next meeting. Let's just,
Oh, yeah, no,
we'll
I will let
call
you know
another
the moment I
meeting,
have it.
and
Sure.
Yeah.
that way we
Oh,
just
yeah.
keep moving that
Oh,
along.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he has a girl in his office, a young woman, that is assigned to this brochure. So she's the one kind of moving parts around. He complimented on our website, said that is a great tool for him because he was able to take some stuff out of it. So I'm excited to see it, but it's going fairly easy.
Awesome, thank you, Barbara.
Excellent.
He will take all the credits. He's really taking care of this.
So if and when you have a special meeting, would you please notify
Oh,
me?
absolutely.
Oh,
Yep. New business, Brody Materials.
Where's Corey?
Obviously couldn't make it.
Yep, that's all right.
Wasn't sure.
All right. Why don't we go around for any new business or anything that needs to be brought up? We'll start with our town planner. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Well, apparently my phone's ringing. Okay. There's a new program out there called the Commonwealth Site Readiness Program. I just got notice about it. It's, it authorizes $15 million for a program being administered by Mass Development. This is for the purposes of funding site assembly, site assessment, pre-development permitting, and other pre-development and marketing activities that enhance a site's readiness for commercial, industrial, and mixed-use development, provided that a portion of the funds shall be used to facilitate the expansion or relocation of successful industrial parks, and provided further that a portion of the funds shall be used to support the revitalization of downtown centers. So, There's a workshop, this is a draft overview, I can get this to anybody who wants it, if I have your email address, I can forward the information to you. There's actually a workshop today on, at CMRPC in Worcester.
What time?
Oh, I hope to be able to attend that. And have more information on it as it comes.
Is there a
Just-
deadline?
The draft funding priorities right now are out there. They're working on it. They're working on 2 draft funding priorities right now. Strategic consulting for existing sites, and industrial parks. Category B, pre-development on new large-scale sites. The regional listing tour is on right now through November. The application is going to be issued January 1st. Beginning probably February 1st estimate, and the application is awarded March 2017 estimated. So the program is still being developed, so we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll, if I have your email, I can forward the email that I got on this, and you can see what it's all about,
All right.
and take it from there. So I'll have more information probably this afternoon.
Awesome.
What time is the meeting today?
12:30?
We were hoping it wasn't at 10 o'clock.
No, it wasn't at 10. I might make it. It's at 12:30, it's 12:30 to 3.
You'd be going quick, but you might make it.
Where is it?
Worcester, what is it, in the CMRPC offices?
Yeah, it's at the train station, basically.
Well, what I'm thinking, right, because in January, we're gonna begin our 5-year economic development plan and kind of have some public hearings on what we want, what's the best economic opportunities in Dudley. I don't know if we'd be able to hit that March 27th deadline. Because that would be nice to be able to
I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
at least have us, I don't know.
We're looking at programs too, to get a speaker in, or to get a workshop
Okay.
as well.
When we have our public hearings on the 5-year economic development plan that we have to build, it's my suggestion that we think about moving our meetings to the evening for January, February, and maybe have a couple of meetings.
Yeah, absolutely.
That way we can get input and just look at the town and plan this thing out right. I think to have the most current zoning maps at those meetings, also go through, any of the TIF stuff that we have. And I was, with that Telegram article, with the, Dickey's piece, I was heartbroken to hear that it was gonna be solar arrays and not like an office park,
Well, that's temporary,
Okay.
because those things don't last forever.
Yeah,
So I guess it's better than having an objectionable land use there.
yeah,
The good news for the town is if they have solar arrays, the town can arrange a payment in lieu of tax agreement. But zoning, it needs to be properly zoned, and I don't know what the zoning is up in that area, up this Oxford Avenue.
yeah, that used to be, it used to be heavy industrial.
Yeah,
and
there's,
light industrial.
I think they need to be aware of whatever the zoning is in that area before they embark on such a project, because it's restricted to the LI 43 zone and the landfill zone. So if it's not in either one of those, then they've got to come and see the planning board for a variance or a special permit.
Keep seeing IPG expand and expand. It's like, just expand like
This
100 feet down the road here.
Taxes?
But, Don, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about? All right. Greg, yeah.
Yeah, ballot question 4. So ballot question 4 may result in some activity. The regulations need to be adopted by the Board of Selectmen. They'll have their first discussion on November 28th. They've asked the Board of Health and the police chief to come in. In the absence of regulations, any place that you can locate a retail shop, you can have a retail facility for sale of marijuana products. That doesn't serve anyone's purpose. So the intent is to go through and look at what reasonable regulations can be put in place. Dudley's location is attractive to those type of shops because we have the great southern frontier, which is Connecticut. So we need to do something.
No. And that bylaw that we passed at town meeting, which is a good bylaw, the right to farm,
Right.
we need to look at that as well.
Right, because typically the businesses would want to be involved in agriculture and retail sales and control both sides of it, so.
Yeah.
Dudley needs to kind of seriously consider that, or the change in the face of the community might change.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, you know, even with the police chief, right? I mean, it's the difference between having an acre of corn and an acre of marijuana plants.
I think we have to take a good, hard look at this, and the Board of Selectmen are going to discuss this issue, because it is my understanding that the number of shops that can open are based upon a percentage of how many liquor licenses
Yeah.
that are distributed. So if you had 100 liquor licenses and a certain percentage, you might be able to have 5, 6, 10 of these stores all over the town of Dudley.
Yeah.
And so we have to take a good, hard look at this, because there's a major impact here that I think all, especially small towns, were unprepared for it. And right now, there's very limited restrictions. I mean, it passed the ballot, but there's no guidelines to it.
The good news is the retail establishments can't open until January 1 of 2018. So there's a ramp-up period. It's also my understanding that any local regulations we seek to enact, such as what Peter suggested, about a tie-in based upon the percentage of liquor licenses, that needs to be adopted through a ballot. So it's not just a town meeting, but the good news is we have an town election in June of 2017, which gives us an opportunity to put something together to put before the citizens at that time.
So is the Board of Selectmen going to be the point board or department on making sure the town is ready for question 4, the rollout? And that way everybody can kind of, because, right, the retail side could be a planning board, but if the, you know, because it's zoning. So if the Board of Selectmen is the point, it'd be great to have a single point and then say, okay, planning board, we need you to do this, economic development, we need you to do this, right, health department, we need you to do this.
Okay, we have not developed a strategy or a plan yet. This was just brought up recently, especially since the ballot question just passed. But through Greg and through the other members of the Board of Selectmen, we don't want to just sit back and wait until 2018 and find out that we're unprepared or we haven't given it any thought. So it's just in the starting period, and we need to discuss this probably at our next meeting.
Yeah, the 28th. So the Board of Health is also involved. We'll sit down with the Board of Health, the police chief, and the Board of Selectmen and have a discussion about where we go with some type of regulation to protect the community. The character of this community makes some sense. Otherwise, it becomes a free-for-all, and you end up with a number of establishments that really affects what the community looks like.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what some of the towns in Colorado did and how they rolled it out
And the effect, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
like, you know, what positive or negative effects after the rollout. And just so I'm clear, did you state that for these retail a retail establishment cannot open up until January 1st of 2018?
That's correct.
Okay.
Do we have any interest already?
Yes.
A lot of it?
I can't tell you where, but I can tell you there's been at least one inquiry made.
Huh.
I'm not surprised.
Is again, the fact that
On the
our
college education.
location to Connecticut is extremely attractive to, just like the fireworks shops that open up down in Quabog, right
That's
over
right,
the
it's
town line.
reversed, you're right.
You know, it's kind of the same thing. And we best be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
There is a 2% local tax, as I understand, also. So, you know, but again, the question is that local option? Do we need to adopt it? Is there an opportunity to have a higher tax?
Yeah.
Some communities, I think I saw on the news, one community had a question before its town meeting to create a moratorium. I don't know what that would involve the planning board if it was involved. We have to address all of these questions.
Yeah, because I'd wonder if it would be considered like a luxury tax, like if it would be considered like similar to like tobacco or anything like that.
Have you read,
I haven't.
the law is, 4 pages of 8.5 by 11 or 5 pages, single space,
Ugh.
10-point type. I mean, it's a very lengthy, convoluted law written by the supporters of the initiative. So we will see what we can do to protect the town, and ultimately it becomes a law enforcement issue also that the police department needs to be involved in these discussions.
Absolutely.
There's some preliminary information on that I can forward to you as well.
That'd be great.
Should too,
Yeah.
driving.
So is Massachusetts the first industrial state to have recreational marijuana approved?
4 of them.
I don't know.
I think there's 4 states.
I don't know.
And I know, but I'm talking especially like in the Northeast, because,
Yeah.
boy, you're right, being right off that border,
Yeah,
we have a big problem coming
yeah,
our way.
we do.
Here we come.
I do know that Chief Warner has a fair amount of concerns and input in this, because this very much so will affect the community. And a community that is got a large school population and kids, and especially if the percentage of stores is based upon a percentage of liquor licenses, there's a major concern here. And we just can't sit back and wait till 2018 to do something.
Right now, are we able to, okay, can you cross, are you worried about crossing borders to
Yeah, I don't think
purchase?
it's restricted to Massachusetts residents. I believe the restriction is persons aged 21 and older.
Correct.
Okay.
So long as you have proper age identification, then
Yeah, that's something new.
I'm just thinking of the way Google Maps gets someone into this part of Massachusetts, whether it's 84 or 395 up through Thompson, you hit Dudley.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Maybe designate an area.
Well, it's gonna be an interesting process, won't it?
I think from a zoning standpoint, any place where you would allow a retail business establishment would be considered, I'm not sure the zoning can get much more restrictive than that, so you can't have a marijuana sale zone that you can carve out and put it within that. I'm pretty sure the law specifies retail sales. So
I think that's what I've heard too.
So it'll create some interesting issues, and again, geography mandates that we address this sooner than later.
Well, on behalf of the board, I'm sure I speak for everybody, you know, if the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator needs any research done on this, you know, our members, you know, be more than happy to make ourselves available, do whatever we
We
can.
certainly don't want this to be the hallmark of the town of Dudley. Your
Okay.
committee has done all this good work, and we want what your committee has done to kind of be the fruit that we want to see on the town's website and what we're known as. I did talk to my colleagues in Webster, and they're in a similar situation. They might even have a little bit less information than we do. So, I mean, all the cities and towns are facing the same thing at this point going forward.
See, I don't think this issue is quite the same as several years ago, there was somebody that wanted to put in an adult bookstore in Dudley, and then the planning board got involved, and we wound up, legally, we had to find a location, but we found a location that was out in the middle of Ishkabab.
Yeah.
But this is a little different situation.
Yeah. I remember that Park and Shop Plaza. It's like,
Park and Shop Plaza.
no way. All right, there.
But that, I personally think, from my standpoint, as being a selectman, it's an issue that we have to take a very serious look at, because it's gonna affect the whole community and kids.
Yeah.
And people 21 and older purchasing it and possibly selling it to younger kids that are, so we have some serious, have to have serious discussion on this issue.
And it's one of those things, you know, where people were pretty passionate, you know, during the election on it, pro and con.
Yeah.
Regardless, it is the law now.
Correct,
It's
correct.
coming. So
Correct.
regardless of how you feel personally on it,
Now you gotta deal with
you
it.
gotta deal with it. All right.
And like I said, a 5%, 2% tax is
really just a drop in the bucket. I mean, on a, you know, a $500,000 in sales, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
$10,000 isn't gonna provide the town with anything.
Exactly.
But it's not going on the town brochure. So I have it.
No. But maybe you face the fact that someone wants to advertise on the website.
Right.
Well, yeah,
You're gonna need to.
that's the family-friendly disclaimers and stuff, yeah. Peter, would you like to add anything?
Good, thank you.
Anybody else have any additional
sir.
things? All right, seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, Todd's made the motion. Barbara seconded.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Fred.
Have a great week and have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think